Hey guys, welcome back to Bixby's Beer Reviews. So happy to have you here with me. We're back in the lab again. That's right, it's hashtag BBR Labs. And today we're going to be talking about Incognito hops. The beer we've got for that comes to us from Parish Brewing out of Brewster, Louisiana. It's a collab they did with Equilibrium Brewing, BBR faves from New York State, called Ghost in the Laboratory. Of course, that makes reference to the straight out of the laboratory beers that Equilibrium does, and then Ghost in the Machine. Pretty well known, I think, hazy from Parish, one of the most well-known beers to come out of that region. What's going on with this beer? This might be the most citra beer currently available in existence. Has a huge dose of citra hops in the whirlpool, including Incognito, which we're going to talk about in just a sec, and then another huge double dry hop of citra hops, including Citra Lupomax hops, which you know about already. So just a Equilibrium claims they have never done a more dry hopped beer than this one. So, what is Incognito? You recall some of the last two things we did, Lupomax and Cryo. We came to the conclusion that it was pretty much the same type of thing going on, just different trade names for a hop pellet that has less vegetable material relative to the amount of lupulin in there. So you're getting more hop flavor and less of the vegetative material that can lead to off flavors or that just soaks up the beer during the brewing process. Well, Incognito is not the same thing as those. It takes that concept a step further. Because Incognito is actually a liquid extract of hop materials. There is no vegetable material in Incognito hops. Rather, it is a liquid, comes in a big plastic bottle, shelf stable at room temperature. You pour it directly into the whirlpool during the brewing process. No vegetable material whatsoever, no hop loss to that. So I think, again, it's probably best to view it as something of a convenience to the brewer, as opposed to something that's radically going to change the flavor of your beer relative to traditional hops. But with that said, it's not one that I'm as familiar with as Cryo, and one that I don't think you see quite as much yet. So let's crack this beer open, take a look at what we got. So my experience with Parish Brewing was when I was down in New Orleans a couple of years ago, and I chose to go in September, which is sometimes a bad idea because if you've been down there before, you know that's hurricane season. Of course, there was a hurricane that blew in a couple days after we arrived, was predicted to hit New Orleans, and the night it was supposed to come in, which, spoiler alert, it did not. I spent holed up in a hotel room with a 4-pack of Ghost in the Machine, hoping that I wasn't going to be inundated and that I could continue my vacation. So happy memories of Parish for sure for getting me out of that jam. We're talking about one of my old vacations because you know what we got here. It is a Hazy IPA, perhaps the haziest IPA we've ever seen. I mean, look at this thing, but it is what it is and we've seen it before. So let's go ahead and give this one a smell. Ooh. This one packs a punch. They weren't kidding when they said that this was the biggest dry hop they've ever done, because this is an absolute blast of orange. It's not even really the citrusy part of the orange. It's more like a massive orange creamsicle. Just absolutely blowing out the receptors in the back of my nose. I have not smelled a beer this smooth fruit juicy in a long time, and that's saying something because we've had some really good hazies on recently, but oh boy, this one's going to be a treat. So let's go ahead, give it a taste. Yep, and that is an absolute juice bomb in the best sense of the word. In comparison to the aroma, which was very smooth, a little bit orange sweet, a lot more orange zest on the flavor. Also very intense grapefruit, a little bit of mango, honestly, which I wasn't necessarily expecting. And of course, sticky weed. This one's got a real bong rising effect there on the finish, again, in a good way. So I've talked a lot about how I feel like there are a lot of breweries that overuse Citra in hazies and get to a sort of vegetal or astringent or just overly done hop impression. And I think they might have walked right up to that line, but they're nowhere near crossing over it here. This is still ultimately a really well-balanced beer. It has the exact amount of body needed to carry this intense orange flavor through. Really just, the pinnacle of the hazy IPA form on display here, and a really great showcase of Citra hops. So to talk again a little bit about Incognito, again, nothing to fear. Don't worry if you see it on your silver can. As far as I can tell, this liquid hop extract is only used in the whirlpool at the end of the brew. I don't think it actually comes into the dry hopping process. So again, just a convenience for brewers, a way for them to get a little bit more consistency from batch to batch, avoid losing beer to being soaked up into the hop pellets, and avoid getting some of those off flavors that vegetable material can give off in a very high hopping rate, which, you know, maybe that can account for a lot of the success here, because as I said, this is one that I think uses a lot of citra, but not too much. And so the less vegetable material, the less likelihood you're going to get of that off vegetal flavor. So Incognito kind of pushing a little bit further towards what Cryo and Lupulin Max do. Something you can look for, and something maybe you want to look for in really intensely dry hopped beers or intensely hopped hazies, to make sure that you can get a big hop impression without some of those off flavors. So thanks for joining me, for checking out the latest scientific research and development from Equilibrium. You know, they love the mathematics and the engineering up there. Glad they could collab with another one of the really great hazy breweries out there to bring us this interesting beer. So thanks for checking out with me. Always great to see you guys here, and I look forward to seeing you again. And until then, bye now.